All right, everyone. Want to talk about something called the Planner Placemat. So as you can see, I got up early today. I'm rocking my orange shirt, got my morning routine in, and I'm ready to get started on this particular topic. Okay, hopefully everybody's logged in, and I think this is something that you will all find useful. I'm just making sure I'm live on Facebook as well as LinkedIn. Okay, play the presentation. So we're going to get started. So the Planner Placemat, what is this? My virtual assistant wanted to make a slight correction and say, isn't it the dinner placemat? And I'm like, no, it's a diner placemat. And there's a reason for that. And that's because whenever I go to a diner and I get a placemat, I'm the one coloring with it. I'm the one that asks for the crayons, or I'm the one that's folding it up and making paper airplanes out of it. So I think of this as a diner placemat. You might think of it as a dinner placemat. And what this is it's going to be designed for you to track and monitor your most important projects. Let's start with why I think this is an important topic to talk about. Before we even get to the placemat, let's focus on why this is important. So yes, it is true that if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. And is that really true? And is that what we want to take a chance in our own practices? We expect our clients to have plans and projections, right? And when we ask for them, and they say that they don't have a business plan or they don't have their financial projection, I don't know about you, but this is the look that I'm trying to hide from the client when I find out that they don't have a plan. In my experience, the cobbler's children have no shoes, because as much as we might expect our clients to have plans, financial forecasts, whatever, do we have that for our own practice? And I think for the most part, the answer is no. And the most common reason that I hear for not putting it down on paper is, one, I don't have the time, and two, hey, I have it all up here. I know what I need to get done. I don't need to bother writing it down. Like I said, it's all up here. And at the end of the day, I think we end up caring more about our clients' results than we do about our own results, which is a shame. What do you think? Just talking about the why that this is important. Do you take the time to put this down, to write down your plan, even, whatever, on an Excel spreadsheet, in a Word document, in Evernote? Is this something that's important to you? I love feedback. So if you could type something into the comments that lets me know that you're getting all of this, that would be great. We talked about why this is important. Let's talk about what you need to know. And when it comes to each calendar quarter, we want to be driving the bus. We want to be in charge. We want a clear pathway. It may be a little twisty, turny, but generally we can see out in front of us and the direction that we're headed. So we want that clear pathway to accomplish whatever it is that we're trying to accomplish. And we want to be absolutely certain that what we're trying to accomplish will happen. But we don't just want to be certain. We actually want to hit it out of the ballpark with our planning. So how do we do it? We've talked about why this is important and what you need to know. The next thing is, how do you do this? Normally, as I mentioned in like the run up to all of this, I do this 4 times a year with my coaching clients. And the first step in the planner placemat is what I call the Goalscape planner. And just to quickly go through this, it starts out with your vision for what the practice is going to be in the next, say, 2 or 3 years. I generally focus on 3 years, and that's in the upper left-hand box. In the right-hand box, I talk about, well, what are the annual goals that need to support that 3-year vision? So the vision's at 30,000 feet. Your annual goals are at 20,000 feet. And now, just to be clear, at 10,000 feet for 12 weeks, we're focusing on projects that will help you reach your annual goal. And that goal is tracking your 3-year vision. And the planner placemat really dovetails with the box in the lower left-hand corner. That's what I start with. And if my vision is still intact, then I'm looking at, well, what is my annual goal need to be for, let's say, 2022? And now we're in Q1 of 2022. What are the projects that I need to get done? How am I going to track and monitor that progress so that I will reach my annual goal? And that's really what this planner placemat is all about. And so here's what it looks like. If you requested a copy of this, you already have the PDF, but this is the typical placemat. And I'm just going to go through it. We'll start at the top with your sprint goal. What is your overarching goal for the upcoming calendar quarter, Q1 2022? What are you trying to accomplish? You'll see that right underneath that are the projects. And I'm going to show you a completed one after all. I'm going to actually show you my placemat for Q1. So just hang in there for a second. Then select 3 projects. And I find that it works best for me if all of my projects support what this 12-week sprint goal is, what the calendar quarter goal is. And again, I'll show you my placemat in just a second, but pick 3 projects that you want to work on in this calendar quarter that are going to help you reach that calendar quarter goal, which will help you reach your annual goal. Now, notice that there's only room here for 3 projects, because I think you're kidding yourself if you're going to get more done than that. Because, by the way, these projects are projects that are designed for you to work on your practice, not necessarily in your practice. So ideally, none of your projects here should be completing the business valuation for XYZ Industries, or testifying in the case, with your client ABC Company Inc. These are projects that are going to help you grow, build, or scale your practice. So then 3 projects, and each project has a name. And then right underneath that, you see the best result if I do it, and the worst result if I don't. Now, that may sound a little bit silly to you, like, Rod, am I really going to write that down? But there is a psychological benefit, and it's shown that you are more likely to achieve, in this case, a project, the completion of a project, if you write down why you're doing it. What is the best outcome if you finish this project? And what's the worst that will happen if you don't? And then underneath that, there is a place to write some notes, which is kind of self-explanatory. And then in your own mind, a way to track your progress, a 1, 2, or 3. 1 is getting started. 2, think of it in terms of I'm halfway there or more than halfway there. 3 is, I'm done or I'm almost done. And again, there's a little bit of a psychological benefit to marking off your progress so that you can actually see the progress that you're achieving on any of these particular projects. Underneath those projects are the actions that you need to take this week. Critical results this week for 3 different projects. You don't need to fill in all of them, but maybe, I'll show you mine, and as you're working on a project, maybe you're just going to focus on that one project for X number of weeks. That's how I do it, because I'm a pretty linear processing person. I don't do well if I've got more than one thing going on at a time. But those are the critical results that you want to achieve this week. Now, I know this sounds sort of like it might be a pain in the ass, but you can print this out and write on it. You can do it on screen. But the idea is that you're going to update this every week. Doesn't your practice deserve some kind of conscientious planning every week to make sure you're tracking along your projects? And that's why in the upper right-hand corner, it says what quarter we're in and what week this is. And so ideally, you would print this out and you might rewrite everything that you've got going on to prepare for the following week and complete your critical results that you want to get done. Last, at the bottom of the placemat is just a revenue tracker. I'm not sure how many of you actually think about this, but it's a great reminder to monitor the goal towards your revenue. If you need a certain amount of revenue, if that's the goal that you want to hit for this quarter, well, one way of looking at it is to say, hey, let's just pick a goal. Let me make the math easy here and say my goal for Q1 is $100,000, or your goal is $100,000 of BVFLS revenue. If your average fee, let's just say it's $10,000. So $100,000 in revenue, your average fee is $10,000. That means you need 10 clients this quarter to hit your revenue goal. And if there are 12 weeks in the sprint, then 10 clients divided by 12 weeks means you almost need to average one $10,000 project every week during the quarter to hit that $100,000 revenue goal. And I put this at the bottom of the sprint. It could be totally unrelated to your projects. I put this at the bottom again to have that constant reminder. Last, I print mine out, which is why it's called a placemat. In my world, this placemat sits underneath my laptop computer where I can easily refer to it. Let me show you my placemat for Q1 2022. We are in the week of January 10th. This is the first quarter. My overarching goal for this quarter is to get more engagement from and deliver more value with three different things: my newsletter, my roundtable Facebook group, and Twitter. Those are the names that I've given to my projects. But my overarching goal, again, is get more engagement from and deliver more value with each one of these three, let's call them platforms. Under the newsletter, we won't have to do the whole thing, but under the newsletter, the best result if I do this is that I'm going to grow the number of subscribers, and people will recommend the newsletter to their colleagues because they're getting so much value out of it. The worst result is if I don't do this is I'm going to be at the status quo. I'm not going to gain any subscribers. My influence doesn't expand amongst potential coaching clients. And so that is the worst result. There's a similar theme about growing roundtable. There's a similar theme about being more active on Twitter. Under the critical results, let's just skip down a minute. You can see that I'm working in 4 weeks of time. Weeks 1 through 4, I'm working on my newsletter. And then after that, I'm going to start working on the Facebook group, Roundtable. And then after that, I'm going to start working on Twitter. At the end of 12 weeks, I will have spent roughly 3 weeks of time in each of the project areas. And you can see that, I'm tracking my progress on related to the newsletter. I colored in that one circle. You can put an X through it, however it makes sense to you. I've just hired a web developer to redesign my website, which does have the newsletter on it, but I've redone the layout and how I order my topics. So I have original content, then I have curated resources that I send out, and then what I call my RV shenanigans. So there's 3 distinct pieces of the newsletter, and I think I've now made it clearer, easier to see what those 3 pieces are. So that's a check. That format is done. I've got some other critical results there that I'm trying to accomplish. I have my own revenue goal. My goal for the quarter is $41,400 in revenue. I know that's kind of specific. It's the way I track things. My average fee for coaching is what it is, $1,150. And I know that I need one more client this quarter to achieve that goal. And, what am I doing to get that one client? And again, it's sort of a constant reminder. That's what I do every quarter. And like I said, I actually print this out and put it underneath my laptop, which is why I call it the placemat. I do want you to notice that there is a true second page to this placemat. When you get to the end of, again, that calendar quarter and what I call a sprint, here's a cool down. What are the wins that I had during that quarter? Too often, I think we don't take the time to celebrate our wins, however small, personal or professional. We just keep grinding away. So I'm trying to force myself to celebrate the wins in that first column. In the next column, what didn't work? Well, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. So what are the things that I tried with those critical results or the overall project? What didn't work? What lessons did I learn from that? And then sometimes, to avoid chasing that shiny object syndrome, that last column is, hey, while I was working on those first 3 projects, I got another idea. And instead of abandoning those 3 projects and going after that other shiny object, I'm just going to record it here in the maybe someday idea. And this may become a future project in a future sprint. The last thing that I want to tell you that I think there's a benefit of my particular planner placemat is the unexpected benefit. Now, throughout the conversation today, I've basically been talking about a calendar quarter. But the reality is that every calendar quarter has 13 weeks in it. And you'll notice at the top of the placemat, it says 12-week sprint goal. Some of you who have been following me for a while, you know that I write about this, but my goal is to compress all of my work done into 12 weeks so that the 13th week of every quarter, I get to take off. So I get a minimum of 4 weeks off per year. Even rechargeable batteries need recharging. And that last week, that 13th week, I'm completing the second page of the placemat, celebrating my wins, writing down what lessons I've learned, looking at the ideas that I've recorded from someday, and all of that will transfer over to the placemat that I'll prepare for quarter 2 of 2022. Are there any questions about the placemat? Happy to address those if you will. I hope this has been helpful. If you do have any questions, please type them in the comments below and I will gladly address them. If you don't already have a copy of the Planner Placemat and you would like one, please comment placemat. If you're watching this on LinkedIn or on the Facebook group, comment placemat in the comments below and Danielle and I will see that you get one. That's what I have for you today. I'm still in Bisbee, Arizona. It's a beautiful day here. I'm going to go get a drink, walk miles, and get on with my day. And I wish you that you all have an amazing day as well. So thanks so much for your time and attention. We're done. Have a great day.